What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Legit Whiskey Reviews. This is episode number 50. It's crazy to think that it's already been 50 episodes, so I'm still lucky to be doing this. And today we'll be reviewing Jefferson's Straight Rye Whiskey. This is interesting. I saw this and I had to pick it up. It's a straight rye whiskey, but it's finished in Cognac Casks. So the way they do it, I believe this is a 95% rye, which is really high rye. But the way they do this is they age it for a specific amount of time as a rye whiskey, and then they put it in Cognac casks for 9 to 18 months. I've heard different, like I've heard some are 9 months, some are 18 months, but between 9 and 18 months in the Cognac cask. So if you guys are curious, what is Cognac? Basically, Cognac is a type of brandy, and specifically Cognac itself can only be called Cognac if it is made in the city of Cognac in France. Otherwise it cannot be called Cognac. So like I said, it's a type of brandy, and this is supposed to add different layers and just a different type of taste into the rye whiskey, which is really interesting to me. This one here is 94 proof, so 47% ABV. This one retails for around $65 to $70, so pretty pricey, but for being Jefferson's, you know, it's always going to be a little pricey, especially with everything they do with their whiskeys, especially like the Jefferson's Ocean, you know, stuff like that is going to be on the high end, over $100. So, you know, it should be interesting. Let's get into this. And typically, as I do for all my reviews, you know, I've already poured this before. You know, I usually like to have the whiskeys open, you know, a week or two before I even review the whiskey, just so it can open up a little. But interesting, when I first opened it up, I didn't know what to think about it, but you know, and it was just really interesting to me. I found myself going back to it, and just that night, when I first opened it, I found myself going back to it. So, you know, I found it really interesting. So, but you know, let's get into this. So, it's not super dark, but it's not really light. It's like I would say this is like maybe like in the middle, like almost gold, but not super light, you know, but it's not on the dark side either. And there are some legs forming, but they're coming down slow. All right, let's go to the nose. So on the nose, you definitely pick up the, you know, especially the citrus note. You pick up the orange, the citrus. It's very fruity on the nose. I'm getting like more like an orange, maybe a tiny bit of apple, but I can't quite pick out what type of fruit is coming out. All I know is that it's very fruit forward on the nose, as well as you know, a lot of citrus. For being a rye whiskey, as far as the nose, there's not a whole lot of spice coming through on the nose, which I'm kind of surprised by. There is some in there, it's just not like, you know, for it being such a, you know, 95% rye, and you know, for being a rye whiskey, it's not coming through as much as I thought it would. I'm picking up maybe like a little bit of a caramel note, but overall the nose smells good, and you know, I just can't quite pick it up, you know, pick out what I'm smelling in here, just because it's like so many layers in there. But it does smell really good. Let's go to the palate. Cheers. So this is where the whiskey shines. The palate. Definitely way better than the nose. So you definitely pick up the cognac influence in the whiskey, because the first thing that hits me, I can definitely taste some type, it's like very subtle though, but you definitely pick it up. You get the cognac up front. You get a lot of sweet flavors. The whiskey is very sweet. And then towards the middle, it just flips and you start getting spice. You get the citrus notes. And then towards the back, the cognac, the cognac comes back. And it finishes with like a cognac and a spice note. It has a decent finish. I would say it's like a medium finish, but let's try it again. Yeah, so more of the same. It's still very fruity up front. I did pick up some oak on the finish this time, so I'm getting like a fruity type sweetness up front. I just can't pick out what it is that I'm tasting in here, but that cognac with the fruit note, and then it turns into spice and citrus towards the middle, and then towards the back you get the cognac, again, and then it combines with the cognac flavor, the citrus note, definitely a good amount of spice, and then some oak in here. So very good. I really like the different layers and the complexity for beans. It's not a super high proof, but just the complexity you find in the whiskey. It's really interesting, and I really like it. And like I said, I always, like the first time I found myself going back to it just because it was so interesting, and it's really good. Typically, as you guys know, I don't do this in my reviews, but for this one I want to add some water to it just to see what comes out of here. I'm just gonna add maybe like a couple drops in here. Well, that was more than a couple, but I just want to see if it changes for the better, or I just want to see what comes out of here, because right now it's very interesting. There's a lot of layers in here, and when I first tasted it, it's just like really hard to pick out, it's just because it's constantly changing, and there's so many layers there. If you really want to pick it apart, there's a lot in here for you to pick apart. If you just want to sip on it, you're gonna get your spice, you're gonna get your citrus, and your fruity sweetness up front. But if you really try to pick it apart, you can really find a lot of layers in here. All right, let's go to the nose. Oh wow. So I feel like with the water, a lot more sweetness came out as far as the nose. It's sweeter on the nose with the water than without the water. That's interesting. Overall, it smells the same, but I feel like I'm getting more sweetness, but I'm also getting more spice in here. So that's interesting. Let's go to the palate. You know what? I think I like this with water. This is like the first time that I've added water in a whiskey, and I'm kind of liking this with the water. It didn't dilute it like I thought it would, and it didn't take some flavors away. If anything, it enhanced some of the flavors that were in here. I don't know what it is, but I like what it added to the whiskey. And you gotta listen to Whiskey Quest. Go catch Antonio at Whiskey Quest. He has a cool whiskey channel, but he always says, he adds he adds water to his whiskeys because you never know unless you try it. So thanks, Antonio. This time, I definitely like this with the water. Let me try it again. Yeah, I really like this. Either way, I mean, this is good either way. I feel like a little more sweetness came out with the water, and I feel like the flavors that were there for some reason just got enhanced. Like you can really pick them out now. And that spice, I'm still getting the spice, you know, and I added more than a drop. It was like 3 or 4 drops, but I'm still getting a good amount of spice. The finish is great. You know, that little bit of oak. If anything, I would say the oak kind of went away a little bit. But as far as the other flavors that are in here, you know, the sweetness up front, the citrus note, the spice, all of those ramped up, and the cognac flavors that come through, they were already subtle in the first place, but I feel like they did get enhanced a little bit with the water. But let me try one last time. Yeah, I'm definitely liking this with water. So, you know, if you like a little bit more sweetness and you want the flavors to kind of like, you know, come alive a little bit, I would say definitely add a little bit of water to it. It definitely doesn't hurt it for this whiskey, and you know, it's really good. As far as the only knock I have on this is the price. You know, it's just I feel like it's a little bit overpriced, but definitely like an interesting whiskey that you can go on a little adventure. And it's just like so many layers here, and like that you can play with the water, and it just completely changed it, and it changed it for the better in my opinion. So, you know, I'm gonna give this B+, and the only reason it's not getting an A is because of the price. But I'm okay with the price. It's just, you know, that's kind of a lot for some people, but definitely what comes through with or without water, you know, you're gonna be it's gonna be interesting to you either way. But I think I'm gonna start adding water to this. And by the way, I'm gonna put a link to Whiskey Quest's channel below, so if you guys want to check out his channel, make sure you subscribe and make sure you like his videos. He was posting pretty regularly, but he's taking a little break, but he's gonna start ramping up pretty soon, making videos again. So if you like my content, remember to hit that like button, remember to subscribe. You can catch me on Instagram at LegitWhiskeyReviews, and keep it legit and do it for the love of whiskey. I barely have a little bit here. Cheers.